Welcome to Fight the Power from Home. This is an NMD United living and living with MD presentation, sort of. And we are going to be talking tonight with Dominic Evans and some other folks here in the room, and kind of talking about some strategies and things that we can do to, be active in the community and advocate for ourselves, but maybe not get out of the house while doing it, and because sometimes that's just complicated. So anyway, it should be a nice little short and sweet discussion. Maybe we'll do some tutorials if they're needed, and we'll just kind of see what's going on. Let me introduce you to Dominic Evans. Dominic is over here in the corner. He's actually fighting the power from bed tonight. And anyway, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do, Dom, and kind of like your history with activism and, why you're here?
Sure. Can everybody hear me okay?
I think so. It's pretty quiet. Elaine, can you hear him?
I can hear.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Dominic Evans. I usually use a wheelchair, but my wheelchair currently is missing certain parts I need to sit in it that are imperative. So I've kind of been trapped in bed for about a year. I'm finally about to get out in this next month. So I'm just patiently waiting these last few weeks, but I've managed to find a way to do a lot from bed. I'm a filmmaker, and I have a degree in film, and I also work for the Center for Disability Rights out of New York. I'm really lucky that I'm able to work from Ohio, where I currently live, and basically my job is making sure that representation of disabled people is accurate in media. So that could be anything like television and film to video games, comics, anything that involves the media. I'm critiquing the representation, mostly of disability, but I also have the skills and knowledge to critique from any kind of form of marginalization, such as from an LGBTQ perspective. I can critique on the basis of race, gender, because that was part of what I was taught through my film degree and part of what I focused on when I was studying in school. And that's really kind of fueled my advocacy for the last 5 to 7 years, has really been representation of media. I've been advocating for close to 2 decades now. I started out advocating in the LGBTQ community because I didn't really know there was a disability community back when I was a teenager. So I'm also transgender, and that's kind of why I've always been disabled, so it seemed like less of a big deal to me, even though I was discriminated a lot like everybody else with a disability. But, I was coming out as a teenager, so it just seemed natural to get involved with activism through that. But once I got into college, I really learned that I could be proud to be disabled, and I could fight for my rights, and that I even had a disabled identity, I guess, so that's really when I started advocating online. And for me, since I've been trapped for a while because of my wheelchair situation, I really had to find a way to continue doing my work, because I can't be out in Los Angeles. I can't be in New York City right now making films. So how can I spread the message of my work through online? So that's kind of my background. I'm excited to announce that I'm going on a speaking tour, my first speaking tour, starting in April of next year. I'm heading out west, and I'm going to be out west for around 2 weeks, if not a little longer, speaking in Washington on the topic that I know most, representation of disability in the media and also inclusion of disabled people in film and television and other forms of media, so that we're actively engaged as writers and directors and filmmakers and actors. We're not just being represented by people who know nothing about us without us. So I'm really excited that that's about to come up, because I'll finally have my wheelchair. I'll finally be able to take the message that I've been spreading online offline. But for those who can't get out, there are so many ways that we can speak up and fight back, because the internet has created this really great platform where we can create our voices, even though, you know, the main channels that other people use may oppress us. The internet has given us this other opportunity. So we need to find ways to take advantage of that so we can get our voices heard just as loudly as everyone else.
Thank you, Dom. And I see that we have a couple extra people that are here. So there's somebody on the phone at a 510 number. May I ask who that is?
That's me. This is Jessica Lehman.
Oh, hi, Jessica. Thanks for coming. I'm going to change your name.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to finish some work, so I'll have to be on mute the whole time, but I'm looking forward to hearing whatever I can.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming. And then there's Alana. Hi, Alana.
Hi.
Good to see you.
You too.
I am happy you're here. And Dominic just got done introducing himself. I invited him tonight to come and talk a lot about his work from home. And then let's see. So since Elaine, you're one of the first people that popped in, Elaine, do you want to share a little bit, since we're a small group tonight, do you want to share a little bit about what brought you to this and what you're most interested in learning?
Whenever I want to get something changed or, you know, fight for something I want, I always try to go in person because I want to get in their face. So I was just interested in hearing about how to do it without wasting my time or driving all over town or, I don't know.
No, I think
I don't feel secure talking to somebody, talking on the phone or even writing letters. I don't feel like it gets me anywhere.
Okay. I think that's a valid point and question in a way. It's like, how, you know, and that's why I want to do this, because I know that a lot is being done from home, and especially with the disability community and the barriers that many of us face. You know, where, you know, like in Dominic's situation, he's like trapped in his bed, you know, and I mean, there's just so many of us that have a difficult time getting out and about, and is what we do with our time really making a difference? And so, like, I want to talk about that and find out what we can do. So thanks for bringing up that question. Damien, what brought you to the group tonight?
I don't know. I'm not really sure, but I was hoping to find out if there was like more stuff we could figure out about doing from home besides like just calling representatives and writing letters, because I'm not really sure how productive that actually is.
Okay, well, no, okay, that's a common thing. So thank you. Thanks for sharing. And Laura, I know you do a lot of in-person advocacy as well. And so what brought you to this discussion tonight?
Well, I mean, I do a lot of in-person advocacy, but I often spread myself too thin energy-wise. So I want to learn more how to do more advocacy from home to, you know, kind of save some of that energy for the more big advocacy see actions going on, so I don't waste it. So I just want to see how to be more productive this way as well.
Okay. Okay. And Jessica, I know you said you're working, but do you wanna speak on that as far as anything, or if you're working, I won't bother.
Sure. Yeah, so I've worked as a community organizer for a long time, and I am always interested in how people can come together and different ways to get involved. Always looking forward to hearing about new tools and strategies. And I feel like particularly with the recent election and some of the threats we're facing, it's so important for community to come together and really think about what can we do together and how can we support each other. So wanted to be part of that.
Okay, well, thanks so much. And if you have time to throw in whatever suggestions you have or some experience at something, let us know. We're here. Alana, last but not least, what brings you here, and what do you think you could offer us? I know you always have such great ideas and suggestions. So.
Well, I find myself being torn between many different strategies. There's working within the system, which I tend to do professionally. I'm looking at legislation, I'm writing letters, I'm educating people about, specifically about social service safety nets, social security and things like that. So working within the system is helpful, but I also have limited faith in the effectiveness of that. So I tend to do that more with an eye to education as being a type of advocacy, teaching people about the systems they're dealing with, teaching people how, who's doing what, who's supporting us, who's working against us. And then there's more subversive activity. I mean, I think some of that is everything from giving money to causes that I believe in. I mean, what's happening at Standing Rock? I mean, I wrote a letter to Obama, but I also gave money, and I'm also supporting people who are going out and putting their bodies on the line to fight, fight actually a very physical and dangerous thing. I've supported people who go out and protest and go to jail for a cause. So I might help make sure their cat gets fed while they're in jail, or that they have their families know that they're safe or not, or so there's a supportive work for some more non-traditional activism, or maybe more civil disobedience type activism. Many years ago, I stopped going to demonstrations because my body can't do it. I don't do temperatures well, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, I'm torn between those things. I'm trying to be more active where I work. I mean, I'm really pushing my agency where I work to be more conscious of social issues like racism in the disability community, or our lack of understanding of poverty, or our lack of emphasis on dealing with poverty in the disability community. So one thing I've learned is to try and narrow my focus, but I'm being torn right now into 50 million different directions. I'm worried about, I mean, as we're seeing the names of all the cabinet members that this incoming administration wants to appoint, I'm terrified of almost every damn one of them. And so trying to figure out how much energy I want to put into each of those different causes, how much do I say, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, coming here, I was just trying to see what kind of energy people have for different issues, and how I like to learn how people not divide themselves too thin.
Mm-hmm.
How do you pick the cause, and how do you put it all into that?
I totally get what you're saying because, and I'm sure Dominic can speak on that too. And pretty much anyone that has like a real interest in activism, social justice issues that are going on, I feel like we all kind of share that same characteristic where we get very like invested in a lot of different things, and then we end up it sucks our energy completely dry. You know, there's the introvert that gets their energy from alone time and peace and quiet, and then there's the extrovert that tends to get their energy sucked away by people. And a lot of us, if we are not naturally extroverted, I think we are kind of almost forced into introversion at times. And I think that the psychology of the idea of extending ourselves and picking projects and doing all this stuff, it can be very draining physically, not just mentally. And so I will say I never ever thought I'd be the type of person to go to a protest. I think ADAPT does amazing, great work, but I am not the kind of person that would get arrested or throw myself out of my wheelchair or chain myself to stairs or do it. I see the importance of it. That's just not my personality. And so I honestly was kind of not turned off by activism necessarily, but I was kind of averse to it just because I didn't want, it was very overwhelming for me. And then I got very involved with the Dear Juliana campaign last year, and the letter writing campaign that I started with some folks. Laura's here, and Laura and I worked on that campaign, and we wrote letters, and a lot of you guys contributed letters, and that was, I mean, all I could do for days and days and days. I could barely do my job. I could barely sleep. I was like an insomniac because I was so stressed out from it all. And it was amazing to feel that power, like empowered and like just, I felt so much passion for this topic. And then I kind of, afterwards, when it all kind of died down, it was kind of a time for me to reevaluate. And I found myself getting like that with this election, getting very overwhelmed because there's just now so much in front of us, and it feels like almost too much to even take a bite of. You're just like, I can't even look at this, and I had to shut it all down, which is why I turned my profile picture on Facebook black for a while, because I just needed to just kind of block it all out. And then now I'm just kind of trying to regroup and figure out like where to go from this. And so, anywho,
that makes complete and perfect sense. You know, I turned my picture black too for the same reason, because I think we're all feeling kind of overwhelmed. And for me, I don't know if people are as detail oriented as I am, but making lists and schedules became very, very important for me because I'm already overwhelmed. So I need to make sure that I schedule, you know, work time and free time, because I have to have time for free time, because I'm not mentally okay if I don't have at least a little bit of time to decompress, considering everything's going on. And I think that's something everybody here should try to remember and keep in mind, is to schedule in time for yourself, time to just, you know, if you play games or watch movies or hang out with your friends, you know, you need to schedule that time. And for me, that means I have to have a very regimented schedule. I'm working right now because, like you said, it's really easy to become an insomniac, and I already have trouble shutting off my brain a lot. So I suffer from insomnia quite a bit. So getting on a sleep schedule where I can get up at a reasonable hour is very hard for me. But I've been working to try and do that, because right now it's really important for me, just with all the work that I have to do, to and also dealing with my health. I mean, I'm going to have to relearn how to sit up. I haven't really sat up for over a year, you know. Once I finally have my foot plates on my wheelchair, you know, and I can sit up in it, I'm going to have to relearn that. So, like, I have to, that to me is important. I have to do that. I can't let my body suffer anymore. So what really kind of helped me after the election to move past all the sadness and depression and anger I was feeling was to kind of put the pedal to the metal and say, you can't let your body suffer anymore. You need to make sure your wheelchair gets completed this month. You just need to, I ended up having to raise the funds for my wheelchair, and I'm almost there. So now that I have that, I can't say, well, I'm waiting on that. It comes down to me making sure I get that stuff. I have to schedule that. I have to move on with my life. I can't, keep focusing on all the horror that's about to come. I have to prepare for it, so I have to get to work on it.
Well, and it's interesting that you bring that up, and I want to ask you guys a little bit about self-care as far as, okay, so we do have a lot coming up, and or that's just existing at this very moment. And my thinking at first was to shut everything off, because I stopped watching 24-hour news. I've been trying to lay off Facebook because honestly it's overwhelming. I've been trying to, I really not wanted to hear Donald Trump speak at all. So every time I see him talk, I just shut off the TV, because I know I don't need to know what he's going to say. I can guess that it's not going to be anything that's going to help anyone. And so I'm just kind of, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And then I'm also kind of focused on getting my shit in order. So making sure that all my ducks are in a row. So when things fall apart, at least I know I'll be safe, which is kind of what Dominic was talking about. Wondering, are you guys doing the same thing? Is that kind of your approach to things right now? Are you absorbing media? Are you shutting it off? What is your take on it so far?
I can only do it in small bits. I usually have to, if the CNN's on in the living room, I have to go to another room. It's just, right now it's too much. Especially after seeing that Sarah Palin's going to be, running the VA. That's horrible. Pretty much every appointment I have to sit there and think, is this a joke? This can't be real. It's just too overwhelming. I like Dominic's idea of creating time for free time, no advocacy. I have a hard time because I really enjoy advocacy, so for me it's kind of like a hobby as well, but it's really been wearing on me lately, so I have to find free time that has nothing to do with disability rights and advocacy.
That's so funny. We're here to talk about fighting the power from home, and we're all talking about shutting off and not fighting the power. So I think that's kind of funny. But I almost thought this is first step, right? We have to take care of ourselves. We really do. So I think that's really important.
I think it's also hard.
I think that remembering people are at different stages. So when I get together with people, turn off the oven, please. Turn it off, but leave it in. When I get together with people, I have to remember that people are at different stages of process. Some are mourning, some are angry, some are whatever. And when I hosted my book club, we had 45 minutes of debriefing just about how everybody felt, and that was really nice. I'll be right back.
Okay. Elaine, have you done anything different?
I'm just amazed that it happened, but I mean, what are we afraid of? What do you think? What do you really think he's going to do?
I think I think the appointments he's making are scarier than, well, I think the fact that he has the power to make these decisions is what is scary. I mean, this is a guy who can't control his Twitter account, but he's going to have the launch codes to the nuclear missiles. That's terrifying. I took a class on weapons of mass destruction because I'm only 2 classes away from also getting a political science degree. And so, like, for one of my political science classes, I took a class all on weapons of mass destruction. I know way more about weapons of mass destruction than a human being should know. And knowing that does not make me feel at ease, knowing that he's in charge of ours. So, like, I could tell you how to make a mass, because we know the process to make a weapon of mass destruction, but I don't want him anywhere near them, I don't want him getting access to those things. But also, just from a smaller level, we have people he's appointing who are saying they're going to dismantle Medicare, Medicaid. They're going to cut, he said he's going to cut funding or something. Like, I don't know his plans for Medicaid, but they do not sound good. He said he's appointing people that want to get rid of public schools. Without public schools, there is a lot more access to discrimination for disabled students. And so if we're thinking about the children that are coming into this world that have disabilities, it's sad to think that in 1980 or 1970, when the laws were first being passed, that we may have had more freedom as disabled students than future generations if his plans go through. That's scary because we're supposed to be making progress, but
so what, after practicing self-care and after kind of deciding where you are and what you want to do, like, what do you feel like would be the most, I guess, effective thing to do? And, like, where do you think, like, we should focus if we had to pick one thing to focus on, what do you think that we should do? Like, what's your recommendation, Dom?
I think that we should look beyond our community because there's going to be a lot of marginalized people that are affected, where we can have a lot stronger numbers. So if the disability community is dealing with the fact that it looks like a whole bunch of us are going to lose our home health care, it looks like a whole bunch of us are going to lose health care, period. Access to wheelchairs is going to go out the door. They want to get rid of the educational protections for disabled students. With all these things in mind, we need to look at the bigger picture and see that people of color are facing something different, but they're still facing oppression. So if they speak out, if we all work together with these other communities, we're going to have such a vast number of people. We're going to be close to the majority of people. Because just the disability community alone is close to 60 million people in the United States, So adding our numbers to people of color, people who are Muslim, the LGBTQ community, and all of us saying we're not going to put up with this together, creating events together, working together, and I can provide lots of tips on ways to make that happen. We need to work together. We just have to, because this is too dangerous for all of us. People are going to die, and the disabled and poor people are the ones who always end up getting killed first. That's always how it is. Our community is the first line of defense for any other community, especially further marginalized disabled people. They're the most at risk by this administration. So we need to work together for their benefit as much as our own.
So I get that we have to work together. I'm donating my Christmas this year. I'm donating, I'm basically I'm giving money to different charities, supporting different marginalized groups or people, other projects that I believe in this year. And I'm not giving gifts. And then I'm asking in return if people give to NMD United as my gift this year. So I'm trying to do a balance. And then I've just been trying to be overall like I've been trying to be outside myself a little bit more, trying to consume less for myself, and I'm trying to think of like the bigger community around me. I think volunteering is a good thing, or doing like volunteer work for an organization is a good thing to do. And there's a lot of stuff that you could do for an organization that is not in person. And so like looking at your skill set, like maybe reaching out and saying like, I'd like to devote, this many hours a week to helping you with something, but I can't get out of the house. I have to do this from home. But I think there's a way to donate either, money or energy or time to an organization that helps a marginalized group. And so I would recommend, like, that might be one way that we could make a difference. As far as politicians go and communicating with local politicians, I mean, Elaine, you have some experience, right, with like working with local politicians, and I mean, you've done some stuff that, I mean, you've, right?
They're all Democrat. I mean, they're all Democrats. It's Neustadt and Glenn Maxey, the very liberal of all liberals.
But you've had like dinner parties and stuff, right? Where you've you've gone to dinner parties with these guys, or like, what have you done like that's been a little bit like meet and greet-ish kind of?
Well, I mean, I've been to the state conventions. I've been with ADAPT on protests. That's really not my thing either. I feel very uncomfortable about it. I mean, but I've been with them sitting out in front of the governor's mansion.
Right.
It feels real defeating to me, because it's hard. I mean, sitting out in the cold overnight. I didn't stay overnight. I've never done, but that they did. But freezing, and it's defeating. And I see nothing happening from screaming at a closed gate.
Yeah, well, and I think like I do think that their action recently in Boston was pretty wild. Like they did a lot of that Facebook Live where they were showing them, on live Facebook. And what did you think about that, Dominic? Did you see a lot of did that, and as far as that ADAPT action that a lot of members flew up for and attended? Did you get a lot of feedback? Did that make a difference, do you think?
I don't know personally if what's going on in Boston has, but I know that, unfortunately, a lot of times we have to do these almost extreme things to get them to pay attention. I mean, really, would we have seen them approving the ADA had members of ADAPT not gotten on the steps of the courthouse, so that when the Congress people were climbing up, they were stepping over disabled people, and disabled people were saying, well, we would like to come in too, but there's no ramp. You kind of can't ignore that. So doing some of these very extreme things, I get it. For a long time I was anti-ADAPT too, but now my boss is one of the people who leads the actions in ADAPT, and everybody I know was in Boston. Everybody I work with was in Boston, So I really kind of, the older I've gotten, the more kind of militant, and I hate to say militant, but that's what people think we are, the kind of more militant I have gotten, because like, I agree a lot of the emailing our representatives and that stuff, it doesn't work as well. Would we have gotten the transportation legislation if ADAPT hadn't trained itself to buses? It is effective on some level, because it basically, but the sad thing is that it has to be effective that way. Why do we have to basically train ourselves to a bunch of buses to be able to get on the bus? It's ridiculous we have to do that. But, I see why they do it, because it does work over time. So I don't know how effective the Boston stuff was, but man, they really had to go and protest, because the Judge Rottenberg Center, they're using like torture methods on autistic people right now. you know, and nobody's stopping them. The government's not stepping in. What they're doing is the same thing that they do in conversion therapy. And conversion therapy is being banned, you know, so it can't be used on LGBT people because they know that it's harmful. But because they gave it another name, it's the same exact practice. They say it's okay to do it to disabled people, especially autistic and people with mental health disabilities. So, you know, going there and demanding that when we've tried emails, we've tried petitions, we've tried reasoning with lawmakers, and nobody is helping. People are being tortured to death. So, like, I feel like people at ADAPT kind of feel very, you know, we have to get in their faces right now because unfortunately we don't see results as well. You know, but
in your experience, Dom, what has been like the one thing that you've seen work really well on Facebook or the internet? Like, what would you say is the one, like in your memory, recent memory, what is one campaign or one thing that you've recently seen that really took off and made a difference, and like actually like an action that you took or that you were part of or that you saw? Maybe you weren't a part of it, but do you have anything that you can think of?
Yeah, I think what we did for Me Before You was the big thing. If you guys don't know what that is, the film Me Before You came out, and the message is basically that we're better off dead than disabled. The lead character decides he's going to kill himself because he became disabled. So, and this is a theme we see over and over again in film. This is not a new thing. This is not a, oh God, it happens to some people. This is a reoccurring theme.
Right. So, like, are you guys all familiar with Me Before You, the Me Before You campaign from this summer? So, yeah, Damien's shaking his head. I'm sure, yeah, Laura was definitely part of that. Doris, you were, I mean, like, Elaine.
I mean, I read a little bit about it. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, and the thing is I mean, yeah, I did notice that, like, you guys shut down the main character's Twitter chat thing, and you guys, like, I mean, it was definitely in the press a lot, and it was getting a lot of people were noticing, and I don't think it stayed in the theaters as long as it could have. Although it was.
We got it canceled out of the theaters. We definitely did damage to some of that. But, you know, what really happened was the author was engaging with me. In fact, the author follows me. It's really very creepy because I'm constantly like, you're a horrible writer. And she's like, oh, you know, I'll promote you. I'll help you. Let me share your stuff. I'm like, I'm totally saying you suck as a writer. And you want, you know, and you're like, hey, write a book and I'll promote it. That's basically what she said. But then she ignored all the disability stuff. But no, the Me Before You campaign, the thing that was great about that is it's the first time that, like, online we've seen the international disability community team up and work together on a campaign. I mean, I know that it's happened in the past offline, but this was the first time online that we've ever mobilized people in at least 3 different countries to take physical action outside their homes to protest the movie. And it got international press. We were in The Guardian. We were in lots of you know, ABC News picked it up, NBC News. You know, we have major news coverage on this. And really it all started because I wrote a diss of, I saw the trailer. And that's how it all started. And I wrote an article and people started sharing it. And so I'm a part of this community where we communicate through email about media representation. And someone said, the lead actor's having a Twitter chat. And I said, I'm gonna take him on. Let's organize. We had one day. We found out the day before. We had one day and we got so many people, it overwhelmed the chat. And they ended up leaving the chat early. And we weren't harassing him. We were legitimately saying, do you understand this movie hurts disabled people? Did you talk to disabled people? You know, do you understand the message? Do you know that, you know, this is a trope that's repeated in films over and over and it causes real harm. and they weren't answering our question, and you know, they shut down because it, you know, when they wouldn't answer our question, we had, you know, 30, 40, 50 other disabled people repeating the same question over and over. And the actor just got overwhelmed and said, you know, they said, he's leaving, bye. So that was really where it started, and that started getting press. People started writing articles on blogs, and because so many people decided they wanted to write about it, it really shows that when a disability community puts in that effort and is able to have that high energy online, we can get a lot of press. And even now people ask me about, oh, did you do me before you did, the person that started me before you? And so that, I mean, I'm just so proud that it went so far, you know, having the UK and Australia helping us.
Well, and I think another thing that was interesting about that is it was an issue that it was kind of an easy issue, I think, for people to get behind. It was something that was happening all around the world, so that, you know, it did, like, everybody was kind of on board, and it was a very like you could easily focus on that, and you could easily, you know, just write about your feelings about that. And I mean, the articles that came out of it, the writing that came from it, the stories that came from it, like the you know, there were people that were putting their pictures up with their loved one and saying, you know, like, what was it, there was that hashtag, and people were doing, like, it was like a competition almost, where you would put up your, you know, you and your spouse, and talk about, you know, how, I forgot what it was. Do you remember, Dom? I can't remember the name.
Live boldly, we still have.
Yeah, but it was very singular, and that's the problem. I think that right now what's happening is Facebook is, while it's a good thing, is also just terrible, because it's distracting all of us, and we're all in so many different directions. It's like purposefully, like I think it's almost like taking, I don't know, it's like taking a jar and just shaking it, and no one can get their bearings, and no one can focus on anything, because there's just so much to focus on. And I think that the nice thing about the Me Before You campaign was that it was just one thing that we could just, you know, direct our attention to. But right now it's like every other minute Trump's appointing this and Trump's doing that, and we're running, and we're like chickens with our head cut off, like running in different directions trying to pick the next issue. You know, you got your Standing Rock, you got your, you know, you got the Health and Human Services guy, then you got the VA guy that got appointed, and then you got and you're just like, oh my God, where do I go? Like, what do I do? And then you got your own state politics to deal with.
Thank you.
I think that's where it gets really hard. Hello? Oh, Jessica? Oh, I think she unmuted herself. Okay. But anyway, so I think that's hard. And I think that so I don't know. I think also one thing that we could do, so maybe pick one thing that you want to focus on, like one issue that you really is near and dear to your heart, and one thing that you really want to focus on. And then when that happens, then start to tell your story, and maybe like start a blog on that one thing, and just like, and write about it, and do whatever you can from home and there, and then get people to, you know, hop on board with you. But it's hard, because I think there's just too many issues to organize around right now, and I think that's what's causing a lot of the lethargy and the confusion and the hopelessness.
I agree. And a really easy way that you can still care about the other issues is you really need to make connections with people that are diverse and know like other communities and whatnot. And while you're doing your thing, push their voices forward. So when they're sharing their work, share their work for them. It's easy to do a retweet. It's easy to, you know, do a share on Facebook. Whereas, you know, and if you establish a rapport with them, then they're going to share your work too. So if you're sharing amongst yourselves, you can focus on your issue, but you're still showing that you care for that because you're boosting their message as well. And that way you're not saying, oh, well, I don't know which topic I care about so many. And see, that's the struggle I have. I have so much knowledge in so many areas of disability that, you know, my focus is media, but I can talk to you about healthcare and education and sexuality and parenting and blah, 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 and on and on and on, because I know all these issues. So it's like, how do I use my knowledge and skills when I can't be 300 places at once, you know? So really making my focus media representation. I try to tackle the other issues within that. You know, how does it affect healthcare in terms of actors with disabilities and things like that? You know, how can I tie in my other knowledge? So focus on your area, but if you have other skills in your house, don't avoid them. You know, find ways to bring them into it. And also,
Hold on one second. I'm gonna mute issue to do it. Okay, sorry.
okay.
So.
But yeah, just form a really great community of diverse voices and read their stuff and have them read yours. And, you know, focus on that one issue because, like you said, we are all overwhelmed by all of it. But also be aware of what people are doing in the other areas that matter to you or in other areas that you think are important and push those messages through their work by sharing that.
Right. So if we all leave here tonight and we pick one, let's just like think about one thing, one issue, one singular issue. I know there's a million. One issue that we can commit to maybe, I don't know, taking some action on, doing some writing on, and then like maybe we talk about that. So I'll tell you what my issue is. My issue that I care about a lot of different things, but the thing I act on the most and the thing that I do the most is anytime a child wants to die because of their disability, or you know, or anytime a child's being neglected, and to the point of that, like the you know, I will take action. That is my trigger. That is what sets me off in a tirade of emotion and good writing and whatever I need to do, and I go crazy. So that's my personal thing. Is so.
Connected with Not Dead Yet, at least in they know.
And I donate to Not Dead Yet. I get involved. I work with them as much as I can. I'm very invested in the work of Not Dead Yet, and that's my kind of my partner organization that I deal with.
You know, they were the organization that took on the responsibility.
Oh, sorry. Hold on one second.
Commercials.
I'm hearing. Sorry. There's a lot of background noise coming in, so I was just trying to. Okay, what were you saying? They were the organization that took on.
Me Before You.
Right.
They were the one that kind of took on the dominant role. They offered money for people making copies for up to $100. So people were able to make copies of flyers for Me Before You. That was really something awesome that Not Dead Yet was able to do. That's another thing. Find organizations that you support and make sure, you know, you're engaging with the people that work for those organizations because, you know, having that connection with Not Dead Yet, that just, you know, and having them be a part of Me Before You, they have press connections that I didn't have. You know, I'm really good friends with Diane now because of the work we did on Me Before You. So making that connection, you know, make a good connection with the organizations you support because they're already taking action And so they're going to appreciate you boosting their message online and doing what you can from home. So
Right, right. Elaine, do you have any particular issue that triggers you, or that you get like that you think you could focus on?
Well, the only thing that has ever triggered me, and it will trigger me, and I've put it on Facebook when I've more than once, it's handicap parking.
Okay, so
It just makes me furious.
okay, so
Um,
that's perfect because they have that. Did you sign up for that thing where you can become like a violation person and all that stuff?
I don't think I can do it. You've got to be able to take a picture. I mean, I need to sign up for it. Yeah, but I'm not sure that you have to take a picture of the car. You have to take a picture of the license plate. I don't know that I'm that good at holding a camera. But yeah, I could try. But that's the only thing that has triggered me enough to just flash out and let everybody else know I'm pissed.
Well, I think that's
I'll go get security guards. I'll call the police. I have sat and waited on policemen.
Well, I think no, but I think that's a really good plan. So you have a trigger, and I think
there's a really good clamp you can get. You might have to try a couple different out that you can hook for your camera that you can kind of use to prop up your phone. I use it sometimes just to watch stuff, like and they're just like the kinds that have like the clips that you can clip on like a side table and it holds your camera up for you. That might be something that might help. You might be able to rig it up so it works for your situation. So if you have trouble, like for me, I can't hold the camera that takes a picture, it will hold the camera for you. Then you just have to hit the button to make the picture.
Right.
So you might be able to rig something up like that to make an accommodation so you can take a picture. Wanted to do that.
Natalie, do you have a trigger? I don't know if Natalie's there. She might have had to take off for a minute. Laura, what's your trigger, Laura? Do you have?
I think we all know this by looking at my Facebook feed. It said, I want the Disability Integration Act passed. Like, really, healthcare as a whole. Pretty much all types of healthcare are under threat right now. Whether it be private insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. Right now I'm like just overwhelmed. I'm trying to figure out which one to focus on. Since I'm a metro right away from Capitol Hill, but today I focused on Disability Integration Act. But if they repeal Obamacare, I personally will not have health care.
Right.
I'm going to toss up between the two of those because I believe with the Disability Integration Act, it could help protect personal care attendant services if they do turn to block grants. I believe the Disability Integration Act will help protect that. People won't get hit.
Right. Well, I think the Disability Integration Act is a great thing to focus on. I also think, you have a very unique story in the sense that you are kind of in this really weird gray area that doesn't get covered and doesn't get talked about. And I highly recommend that you maybe start a blog and do your own, become, and tell your story because it's fascinating what's happened to you and how you got stuck in the situation you're in. And I think it'd be really educational.
Yeah, I plan on trying to, that's my goal for 2017 is just to write a lot, to submit op-eds, because, I can't do a lot of, the physical actions for ADAPT, but, at their last action, I help run their social media page, and that's one thing they want people to do is write op-eds about the DIA and, share your personal stories. Yeah, and then, another thing for the DIA, writing those emails, those are very as effective, but, literally just calling a legislator, I could even give people scripts if they want, because I know that Stephanie, I think shared it, but posted on the last organized forum call. They do just have by focus, especially the winter months.
Right.
And fall.
Hey, Natalie?
Uh-huh.
I was going to ask you, sorry, Laura, thank you, Laura, for sharing your ideas. I think that, I mean, I think it's kind of cool to talk about our singular issues. So if you had one singular issue that you want to, like you were going to focus on with your activism, like the trigger, like the thing that gets you the most like fired up, what is your trigger issue?
Oh, that's hard because I think a lot of things get me fired up, and I don't really have a first place, and it depends on stuff. But I'm having some bodily issues, so I'm gonna head out, but I'm gonna listen to everybody's input through video. Thank you so much for participating.
No problem, no problem. I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. And Damien, what's your trigger issue?
I'm not sure that I have one, but right now I've been worrying, I guess, a lot about like medical coverage and things like that. So that's something. I guess
Are you familiar with the Disability Integration Act?
I know that it's a thing going on. I don't really know much about it.
I think, you know, if that's something that you're passionate about, kind of like Laura was saying, it's something that they do need a lot of help promoting, and I'm sure even like composing a story about your situation, what you're scared of, what your life is like, and like telling that story, and sharing it with the folks that are running the Disability Integration Act, like it's CDR, the Center for Disability Rights out of Rochester, and like I'm sure that they would use your story, wouldn't they, Dom? Uh-oh, I think Dom's out for a minute too. Uh-oh, it's all just me.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Sorry. I was here talking animatedly, and I forgot that I was on mute. Because I was coughing, so I muted.
No problem.
No, CDR definitely would love to hear from anyone who, could benefit from the DIA. Especially, because right now we're trying so desperately to get congressional support for it. And the sad thing is, people are not, we tried to get people to send letters online. You just had to hit a button to say, put in your address so it could select who your legislators are. And we only had a couple hundred people doing it. And I think that's a problem the DIA is facing, is all these people say they want it, and a lot of people aren't taking action. And I know some of that is people are overwhelmed by the election, but now is the time we can't, I hate to say it, I know we all are trying to process it, but it's going to be really hard if we all shut down for a few months until, the inauguration, and then start working after the fact. So those of us who are capable of working right now, that are emotionally okay to work, we really need to be pushing for the DIA as soon as possible, because I don't even know what's the likelihood Trump would sign it into legislation if it ended up passing. Even if it got bipartisan support, usually when something gets bipartisan support, which is what we're seeing with the DIA, whatever the president is, it doesn't matter. But Trump's a wild card. We don't know. We don't know, because he has no voting record, what he's actually going to do. Will he, listen to the masses and be a follower, or will he do all the things he threatened? And, because if he does all the things he's threatened, I don't think he'll sign the DIA. So, that's another thing we have to worry about.
Do you think that there's benefit to joining the Republican Party? I know it sounds weird, but I was thinking about it, and I was like, if enough people joined the Republican Party and infiltrated it, and like went to their meetings and like sat there and like went like rogue basically and just kind of fucked up the party from locally from the inside, do you think
Yeah.
that would work?
Isn't
I
that
think
what
that
gay people did? Is they joined the Republican Party and tried doing it back in the 90s?
I don't know.
I don't think they were successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it'll. I think that sounds like a really smart plan, but I think that again we'd fall into the trap. I hate to say it, I'm liberal as all get out, but liberals are sometimes very kind of lazy. Sometimes, like, you know, we don't go to the polls, we don't vote. We can expect the old grandpa Republicans to always show up because, you know, I don't know if it's like with as you get older, being, you understand your right to vote more, but it seems like older Americans, a lot of them always tend to show up. You know, the most conservative ones, they're coming at the midterm elections. That's how Republicans get in all the time because the Democrats never show up. So I think we're kind of lazy. And I think the problem is we love to talk about things like that and things we can do and shaking up the party and things like that. But when it comes to follow through, I think that we would falter. I think it would be hard to get enough people. I love the idea. Personally, I think it would be amazing if we could just, although we'd have to change the color from red. And it can't be an elephant if we change it. It has to be something like, I don't know, a purple unicorn or something. That would be like the Republican Party that I formed has like a sparkly purple unicorn. That's our logo.
I also what is your thoughts on getting rid of like unfriending people or kind of like going into your bubble and not interacting with people that are
Yes.
how do you feel about the bubble?
I like it for Facebook. Twitter, I feel like, is for promotion. So I don't exist on a bubble on Twitter. That's why I have so many more people that are following me. I've kind of worked that up to be like a publicity thing where, I can showcase my work and bounce ideas off people. But Facebook, yes. Block people, cut them out, go in your bubble. You need to have a safe space online because we're so dependent online so much, especially disabled people, because we have this connection that we never had. A little off topic, I was in a meeting because we were going to be talking to Scott Silvery, who writes Speechless. And I got sick and missed the meeting, which is really, but I'll be meeting him again. But anyway, we were talking about our ideas and it was like, oh my God, I totally forgot what I was saying. God, I hate when that happens. Oh, what I was going to say is that we were talking about, no, I forgot it. I'm trying to remember why Scott Silvery ties into the discussion on, I know I had a point. I'm so sorry that I just totally blanked. But no, seriously, I've unfriended a bunch of people and some of it wasn't personal, but I just had to retreat into my bubble because we're so dependent on online space. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say that he needs to have JJ have more disabled friends because maybe back in the 80s and 90s when his brother was growing up, disabled people were more isolated. But thanks to the internet, we're in packs now. I swear, all my friends who are disabled know people in real time now that they hang out with who are disabled. And, I have friends that are disabled that I hang out, we're not alone anymore. So I was like, we have to tell him, don't isolate JJ. That's not realistic with disability because we've created this community thanks to online to where we've brought that into our real world. So your Facebook, I recommend putting your Facebook on private personally, having a private place where you can, be silly and be fun. You know, I try as much as I keep telling myself, stop sharing the news, Dom, but I'm going to have to work on that goal for 2017 because I'm not doing it. But, you know, I like that I know that I have people on the list that if I post something about video games or some of my other interests, they're going to crack up and find that appreciative, that it's not all people who are like, give me news and give me activism and this and that, that I have people I went to high school with and people I went to college and people from all parts of my life. That's kind of where they congregate. So I unfriended a lot of people involved in disability activism because they were either being negative, they were either touting Donald Trump, or, you know, some of them were being racist, you know, things that I can no longer tolerate since the election. So I think that for your own safety and sanity, if you feel you have to block people to be okay, then you do that. Because at the end of the day, there are people on a screen, and sometimes you have to block your family. You might not be able to escape them offline, but, you know, have that safe space. If your aunt doesn't know where your Facebook is and she really got to care if you hide it from her.
Yeah, and you can also categorize people too as acquaintances or as close friends, or and then you can cater your posts to go out to certain audiences, which I do sometimes. I think that works. Usually when I talk about really big issues that are very controversial, I tend to only post them to my friends and not acquaintances. Like, that's kind of what I do. But oh wow, I'm looking at, oh my god, somebody's got a video. Jeff, what is all this? Jeff? Oh, this is weird. Are you guys seeing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, who is Jeff?
Jeff? I don't know what Jeff's doing, but Jeff is watching
A little girl with a guitar
yeah, a little girl with a guitar.
and an old-fashioned car.
So bizarre. Oh, it's Dolly Parton. A Christmas of Many Colors, I think it's called.
Yeah.
At least you're not accidentally watching.
Wait, what?
I said at least he's not watching porn.
Yeah, that would be kind of an interesting thing to add into our hangout. God, Dolly Parton looks like she's had so much work done. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. Well, on that note, I just want to thank you guys for coming tonight. And I realized it probably wasn't the most productive discussion. I wish I was better prepared. I feel like we're still just all processing what has happened to our country. You know?
I think we have a good starting point, though. I think, you know, looking into blogging, and I recommend WordPress. Look into WordPress. Most everybody I know uses WordPress. I personally don't recommend getting a WordPress like on their website if you're going to do it more than casually. If you're just going to do it casually, no need to purchase anything. But I recommend if you want to do it, you know, for activism purposes or whatnot, buy your own URL and put WordPress on there. It's, you know, doesn't have to be.
And I can teach, if you guys are interested in setting up your own website, your own blog with your own URL, and you want to talk to me about how to do that, I don't mind showing you how. I'm actually, like, that's something I love to create websites for myself. I have like a million different websites. I'm kind of addicted. So it's kind of a fun thing to play around with and experiment with. And so yeah, if you want to start to, you know, maybe do something along those lines, like, let me know and I'm sure I can help you. Dominic, would you be open to helping people?
Sure, if they have any questions. I'm not available on weekends starting in the next week, but during the week, I'm, you know, if people have any questions, you can give them my Facebook contact.
Okay. All right.
And it was really nice to meet everybody. And hi, Laura.
Hey, it's nice to hear your voice.
You too. We've been like friends on Facebook for like, it seems like forever. We've been through the war together, and I don't think we've ever heard each other's voices. I heard you in that video that I edited, but other than that.
It's always great to see everybody. I don't know, it's so cool. I like seeing everybody. I like these long distance friendships that we've all made. It's kind of nice. I mean, as much as I feel like, even though it sometimes feels so hopeless, it's nice that we all have each other to rely on and talk to and help each other. I feel like that is powerful in itself, you know? So, anyway, I hope you guys got something out of this.
It's just good to chit chat. I've been kind of like in my own.
Wait, Laura, you cut out. Hello?
Election.
Oh, she's cutting. You're cutting out, Laura.
Yeah, I can't hear you at all.
You're like, every other word is going through. Stupid internet. Elaine, we'll do some parking thing together. You and me.
We can walk up and down the domain and find violators.
No, I will. I'll hook you up.
It would be cool to have an app where you could put in people's like license plate numbers, and the service could actually report the people.
No, they do have that. That's an actual app that got created by a developing team in Austin. Parking.
It was one of my neighbors. One of my neighbors down the street was on the developing team.
Who is it, Mac?
Huh?
Who is it,
No, Max, the is he county or city? I think it's county. The guy that runs the program, I think it's county. And if you get deputized, you can use the app, and they will actually send the people a ticket.
Yeah, and then they donate like a portion.
Cool. But you can use the app whether you've been deputized or not,
Right.
and you know, just to shame people.
Yeah. Laura, sorry we lost you again.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, my internet connection's really crappy here.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that's why I'm just doing just audio, but even that's crapping out. But hopefully it's good now.
Yeah, it's better. So what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying I'm glad that the internet exists so we can all connect. Like even though like you and me have talked a lot on the internet, then when I met, I think Elaine, were you there when I was in town in Austin? We all met. I think it was like at Christmas, but yeah, like I, you know, we had like it was that
Oh no, you're getting cut out again. Oh man, Laura, we lost you again.
I tried.
Well, thanks for coming, and Damien, I hope you took something away out of this. I feel bad. I know you came, and I don't know. I feel like it's a big topic. It's hard to just fight the power from home. But
well, you know what I hope you guys take away from this is to develop community beyond. What really helped me was developing community as much as within the NMD community, but also beyond with the wider disability, and having just a broad community on social media that you can connect with and share your work with, and that they can connect with and share their work with, and finding ways to either work together or promote each other. So, you know, finding a diverse voices, that's really helped me. I also found someone who had a lot of connections in Hollywood, and finding her, and she really believes in me, and we're really good friends, and she's helped me with a billion different projects I've worked on now, you know, and she's given me innumerable connections. Reaching out to diverse groups of people has led me to so many connections that have helped me professionally and that have helped me activism-wise. So find those people that are working in your niche and connect with them, even if they don't have an NMD, you know, because they're going to have resources that are going to help you, you know. And I think that's what we have to do in the Trump world, is we have to not only protect ourselves, but, you know, make sure we're protecting our neighbors and make sure our neighbors are trying to protect us. I don't think we can do it alone to make it through.
Damien, are you by any chance, do you get news from the Disability Visibility Project?
No, I don't. I haven't heard of that.
Oh, that would be a really good step for you. Is go and type in Disability Visibility Project.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a wonderful group you can follow, and there is so much news and information. Alice Wong does a wonderful job with that. She curates news on disability from so many different sources. So I recommend everybody sign up for that. And also, if you have Twitter, you can follow the Disability Visibility Project, and they have regular chats. They've teamed up with my regular Twitter chat, Film This, and we've done a number of chats on representation in media. Alice works through DVP to form Crypt the Vote, so there were a lot of discussions on the election. Crypt the Vote might be something you might be interested in getting involved too. It's on Twitter mostly, but what they do is it was originally started to address disabled people having a voice in the election, but now that the election's over, it's moving towards how to deal with these issues we're talking about now. So Alice Wong, who, I don't know, is Alice still in Living with MD? Because
yeah, she is. Alice is in Living with MD. I put the link to the group, the Disability Visibility Project, in the chat.
Yeah.
If you're not connected with that, it's really amazing. It's so good. It's disability news basically all the time. She's made it like, she puts up, I don't know, at least 10 posts a day. And it's just disability news from all over, and comments. And if she likes what you write about something, she'll post it there, and 10,000 people will see it. And it's a very, very, very good, they have over 10,000 people in the group. And I imagine that it's going to get even bigger. So I highly recommend you do that. If you're going to do anything, Disability Visibility Project. Very important.
Yep.
So, and the Disability Integration Act, I would look up that. If you're going to do anything like,
health-oriented.
Yeah, those are two things that I think are really, good to focus on. Any other thing that you'd recommend they follow or pay attention to, Dom?
Let's see. Alice Wong, just like friending her and following her in general. God, a lot of the people I know don't just have NMDs that I mainly focus on. So I'm trying to think of who within this community would be a good connection.
Project Value is pretty great.
We actually are doing a US version. We were doing it. We actually reached out to the people doing Project Value, not knowing they were doing Project Value, to get them to do our project. It's about to be released, but it's called the Live On Project.
Cool.
We were slower to get ours out.
Well, Project Value is really cool. People submitted videos, and I posted a link to their Facebook page, and that's another really good one to follow.
we'll be asking for videos from people because we're about to launch literally like in the next week. So, but yeah, Project Value and I are and Live On are trying to. We hope to team up and promote one another because Project Value is focused on Canada and their stopping their assisted suicide bill. But the point of both projects is to promote the idea that it is not better to be dead than disabled, that people with disabilities have value in their life, and that they should continue to live on. They shouldn't try. And Live On was started in response to Jerica's death. That was really what started Live On. And I don't know if that's what started. No, Project Value was because of the euthanasia bill specifically. So, yeah.
So those are two really good things to focus on if you're going to just follow something. So,
Yeah.
All right, sorry guys. Thanks for coming, and thank you for everything, Dominic. Thanks for joining us, Laura, David, Elaine, all the people that were here before. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Contact me anytime.
Good night.
See you later. Good night.